Okay, you guys, we are going to dive into One More Light, Linkin Park. This was put on YouTube 8 years ago. Over 330 million views. And I wonder how many of those people can actually relate to this song. And I think it would shock us, break our hearts if we knew just how many people are hurting and how many people can relate to this song. What does this song mean to you? What does Linkin Park mean to you? And how do you feel about everything that's happened? Do you still listen to Linkin Park? Which song means most to you? Let's check it out together. Are you ready? One More Light.
Should have stayed, were the signs I ignored. Can I help you not to hurt anymore? We saw brilliance when the world was asleep. There are things that we can have but can't keep. If they say, who cares if one more light goes out in the sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, or quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do. The reminders pull the floor from your feet. In the kitchen, one more chair than you need. Oh, and you're angry, and you should be. It's not fair. Just 'cause you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. If they say, who cares if one more light goes out in the sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, or quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do. Goes out in the sky of a million stars. It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, or quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do.
This is heavy. I wanted to pause, especially for copyright reasons. This is such an important conversation, you guys. It breaks my heart to hear this song and then to think of the fact that Chester's light went out and to think of all the lives he's impacted and yet the pain that he carried. And I think that's hard. There's a nuance here that I'm seeing. And I'm going to try to gather my thoughts in a way to really show you which two sides of the pendulum I feel are so poignant here. On one hand, we have a person who is changing so many people's lives, singing songs that deeply relate to people, beyond more than just a catchy tune. These lyrics, a lot of Linkin Park's songs hit people deeply, and they're relatable and they're impactful. And they speak directly to that human experience and the pain that many of us can relate to and have seen. And then you see, though, that his light went out too, and it creates this, for some possibly even like this cognitive dissonance, this glitch of going, wait a minute though, you're telling us that you care if someone's light goes out. You're telling us to choose life ultimately. You're telling us that we matter. But did you give up? Like, did you go? Why did you go? Why did your light go out? And so I could see some people over the years really having felt that pain of looking up to Chester, looking up to Linkin Park, finding comfort and maybe even the remedy for their own life to turn away from when they stared their own death in the face and to choose life and to stay another day. And then to see, though, that Chester didn't, and to see his light flicker and him go out. And that duality of seeing a person that can be healing to people who is also hurting, that constant duality and yin and yang of people. On the flip side of this, I also see an honest conversation of someone who is acknowledging that there are people that are hurting, that there are indeed flames flickering and lights going out. And I think it's sad to say that after all these years, this song is relevant as ever. And it's not just relevant because mental health is a very important topic and there are still so many people that struggle, but also because I think sadly we are becoming desensitized. Social media has us at a point where our brain is experiencing more than it was meant to, more than it was wired to, more than is healthy. We go from, within seconds that is, we go from learning about someone's death, seeing someone being shot on the streets in real time, to a funny cat video, to a woman having an emotional breakdown, to a child losing its parent, to an announcement that a child is missing, to another funny reel, to a funny post from your best friend. And our brain is experiencing all this stimuli, and scientifically, excuse me, and psychologically, this impacts us because we have human natural responses to shock and to extremes, to death, to sadness, right? There's chemicals, hormones that are being released when we see something sad. And in the same way, when we see something happy and we see something enjoyable, and our mirror neurons kick off and we're feeling that pleasure, that dopamine. But now we're talking, the stimuli is so fast that our brain is moving from one thing to the other, and it's impossible to really take all of it in. And naturally, often our brain will be more drawn to the shock and the scary because the stimuli is more intense. And over the course of time, because our brain can't possibly handle all the stimuli and jumping back and forth, we become desensitized. And now there's another news of someone being gunned down. There's another event about someone hurting somebody else, and another news of someone going missing. And we have no more strength left to fully care, to really be broken about it. And I think that there are indeed people that have become so desensitized who will say, in their own hurt, in their own numbness, in their own ignorance, and whatever else is playing a part into why they say what they say, you will have people that go, well, who cares? Another light goes out. Who cares if another star? And it's just another star. There's a million more, right? We act like a life is a commodity. Oh, there's enough of them, right? Who cares if this pen breaks because I have more, right? The more of something you have, the less valuable the item is, right? We know this in economy, right? The more money there is, the more money they print, the less valuable it is. The more of something you have, the less valuable. That's why the rarest things are the most expensive. We know this. Common sense, economy, basics, 101. But when it comes to social media and the way we're being overfed stimuli, and there's so much of it, so much trauma, so much loss, so much stress, so much problems. Many people, conscious or subconsciously, adapt this mindset of who cares. And in their ignorance and their pain and their stupidity, whatever the reason, they then say things like, who cares, there's enough stars in the sky. And I love how Chester here, how Linkin Park brings back the humanity and says, I do. And I think this is very powerful because that is what it takes. Sometimes that's all it takes is for one person to say, I do. It's all the more poignant when it's someone like Chester because he has a platform, he has a stage. You saw this footage of these fans crying, being hugged by him. And I think that's powerful because from the outside looking in, some people might go, oh my goodness, you guys are idolizing a human being. What's wrong with you? Why would you have a meltdown if somebody hugs you? Well, when you look up to someone, when someone is very special to you, either because they're super famous and so there's this sense of power and influence because I'm in close proximity to someone who is powerful, that makes me powerful. For others, it's because we have this natural tendency to want to look up to someone. When we're born into this world, we look to mom and dad, the bigger, stronger, better person should be, to protect us. We want to be friends with the cool kids and those who have status. It affects our identity, our sense of self. I am someone if someone beautiful, powerful, special, rich gives me attention in time of day. And of course, the reasons will vary as to how that affects people and their sense of self. But when you have someone who has a big platform, who has power, who you look up to, now you add elements like their music really impacted you. Their song saved your life. The lyrics touched you in a way nothing else ever did, right? There's so many layers to having an attachment to this artist beyond just, ooh, they're famous and I got hugged by someone and now I can tell my friends. It's a direct link to our identity, to our sense of self and worth. And to now be hugged, embraced, seen by someone like that, that ties deeply into our existential desires because we long to be seen. We find that in religion, that deep longing. We long for a God who would see us, who would hear us. We long for a human God, if you will. A lot of religions make their gods very human-like, have human features. They might mix animal parts in there too, but it's supposed to be tangible, touchable, human. We find that in relationship that we long for someone to meet our needs. A lot of marital conflict often comes from unmet expectations. You were supposed to heal those daddy and mommy issues that I had and those deep wounds from my childhood, and you're perpetuating them. You're doing what they did and it's making it worse, right? We often look to relationships to heal those parts of us, to be seen, because the question then arises, who am I if I'm not really seen? If you don't really see me for me and accept me for me, am I really? Do I exist? It ties deeply into our sense of longing. And to have someone like Chester going around and hugging people and you see the fans crying and them singing along with him, it's this direct comfort. And at the same time, that duality of seeing a person who is loving on people and bringing so much comfort to people struggling with their own demons. And seeing that impact, that duality of the pain that his loss has caused, but also the comfort that his life has brought is crazy powerful. Should have stayed. Were there signs I ignored? And here, that another element of that, the profound message here is that we have someone here who was struggling with their own mental health, who is asking themselves about someone else. Were there signs I ignored? Can I help you not to hurt anymore? That question to me is one of my favorite lines of this whole song. The chorus too, but can I help you not to hurt anymore? As someone who wants to bring healing to people, that question to me is so poignant. Can I help you not to hurt anymore? Without offering just quick fix advice, that question of making room for a person to express their need for help. Acknowledging the hurt. I'm not asking you, are you hurting? I'm acknowledging you're hurting. But asking, can I help you not to hurt anymore? I know you're hurting. I'm acknowledging it, and I want to find a way to help you. I'm not offering unsolicited advice. I'm not inserting what I think you need to do. I'm asking you, can I help you? And I think that's such a beautiful way to open the room for love. And on that note, guys, I want to ask you that question. Do you need help to not hurt anymore? If you do, please call the suicide hotline. I plead with you to stay another day because it does matter if your light goes out. In a sky of 1,000,000 stars, it does matter. And I ask you to stay and to choose life. And to take this song as a comfort to process that hurt and to process the confusion of someone who would sing this song and then go on to end their life. Even here with what happened to Chester, seeing how he impacted people and how he spoke on these topics and yet chose that path for himself, there too people have got to come to the conclusion, especially those who look up to him, that they will choose life for themselves and that you have got to be willing to love you and say yes to you. If they say, who cares if one more light goes out in the sky of a million stars, it flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out if a moment is all we are? It's heartbreaking to think, allegedly, that there was quite a bit of criticism from a minority. I don't think it was the majority, supposedly, but there was criticism about that One More Light album, and that it really bothered Chester, allegedly, from some of the reading that I had done. And it bothers me to think about that, to think about people making judgments and not understanding that artists will vary, and some albums will be your favorites, some will not. Some will be more heavy than the others, some may be more on the ballad side. That's life. An artist, if he or she is really supposed to be an artist, need to have that freedom to express themselves. And sadly, though the internet can be used for a lot of good, the downside is that it has given everyone a platform when not everyone should have. And what I mean by that is everyone should be free to speak their mind, but not everyone has the emotional intelligence, the kindness, the maturity, the goodness of heart to use that power. And having a computer, having a keyboard gives you power. It gives you power to say anything you want behind your screen. And not everybody should have that power. I'm not saying it's mine to take away. I'm not saying that we should, that it's ours to decide who has and who doesn't have that power. But sadly, the internet has created this dichotomy where it gives people opportunity to make businesses, to help other people, to do wonderful, but it also gives other people the opportunity to cause destruction. It's leveled the playing field to be hateful and critical. And I think a lot of people, sometimes they over-identify with an artist. So when that artist then doesn't do what they expected or doesn't do something they like, they now think they have the right to be hateful or critical. And I don't know all the details about some of the criticism that the album received, but allegedly there was criticism and it bothered Chester. And it bothers me to think that such a powerful, beautiful song that I believe touched many people would receive criticism, and it then in turn affected Chester. And 2 months after that release of that album, he chose to end it, and he chose for his light to go out. And I think that it puts back into perspective, like I just said a moment ago, that even people who are helping other people and speaking life and addressing these topics are still struggling themselves. And they too have to decide for themselves. Are they going to listen to the critics? Are they going to listen to the haters? Or are they going to choose life? Was going on in his mind? I don't know, that he felt like it was time for his light to go out. What led him to feel like it was time to go? And this is powerful because it really puts back on the table the conversation about the fact that it is up to every one of us to reach out for help. Is it hard? Absolutely. Is it painful? Is it a painful road? Absolutely. But there is help available, and we have to make a decision to decide, am I going to let that light go out? Am I going to listen to the voices that say, who cares if one more light goes out? Is that the reason why Chester reached his breaking point? Because he was so weary of those voices that would be so callous? Was he so weary of, after releasing such an album and such a song, of the criticism towards it? Did he have a hard time hearing the 95% or whoever that loved it, and instead tuned in to the 5% that hated it? Was that part of his spiral downward? I don't know. Many of you fans probably know much more about the backstory, but it just makes me think that it really matters who we listen to. Who do we give the time of day? Since the playing field has been leveled and everyone now has a platform to say what they want through social media, who are we going to listen to? Who are we going to give power? Is it up to us to decide who gets that platform? No. Is it up to us to decide who has the freedom of speech or not? That's a tricky conversation, isn't it? And a conversation for a whole other day. But at the end of the day, everyone has a free will to say what they want, and it is up to us to decide who we give that focus to. Who do we listen to? Those who love it or those who criticize? And in the same way that goes for the lyrics here. Do we listen to those who say, who cares if one more light goes out? There's a million stars. Or do we listen to that one voice saying, but I do? Do you listen to that part of your brain that says it's time to go? There's no more hope. You're never going to get better. Don't even try to hope for tomorrow because it's going to be just as bad. Or are you going to listen to that flickering little light within you that's saying, wait a minute, but I haven't seen the world yet, and I still want to accomplish things, and I still do want to get married, and I do still want to experience life, and maybe there is still something good for me. Flickering means an on and off of something. And a flicker both means that something has gone off, but also that something will turn back on. So is your mind focusing on the off moment when things are dark? Or is your mind listening to the on when the light blinks, even if just for a millisecond? but the light blinked. There was a light for just a moment. In therapy, we get to also reframe and we get to decide which side of that on and off, that flickering, are we focusing on? The moment it's dark or the moment that there's light? Do I listen to those who loved this or hated it? Do I listen to those who say, who cares? Or do I listen to the one voice? Even if he is not here anymore, do I listen to this legacy that is saying to us, I do? I hope you have someone in your life who tells you that they care. But if you don't, let me be that person today to say, I care. It does matter if your light goes out. It does matter if you're not here. I need you to stay. And I urge you to seek help if you're hurting today. What are your thoughts on this song? What did that album mean to you? How have you processed the loss of Chester? How have you processed the changes within Linkin Park? Thank you for being here. Subscribe for more music, conversations about mental health, psychology. I hope you know you're loved and you matter. I need you to stay. I'll see you on the next ride.